just go ahead and laugh. Because, I mean, you gotta laugh. I mean, you really got to get, if you get frustrated at what I'm going to show you in this tutorial, because this is going to be a one-take thing, and then I'm going to go through it, I'm going to add all of these overviews in here, because I can't seem to, like, get my kids to be quiet, and then it's really a bit frustrating, to be honest, because I'm just not taking my time, and I'm just going through it, and I'm rushing it, and I'm letting stuff, and I'm laughing at my stuff too hard. You ain't, I mean, that's what I'm saying. You get frustrated, I'm going to show you some things, and things ain't working. Go back and review it, but, you know, if you need a little break because you get a little frustrated, because I know learning this might be frustrating for some people, so even if you just want to take a break and laugh, just laugh, you know? And you might actually enjoy the end of the video, you know, because it's really me showing you what to do and getting really frustrated because of this part. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoy this. I mean, it is pretty, I mean, it's fun to make the tutorial, but I'm trying to be too perfect, I think. I mean, you really can't, but not with 2 kids and audio and all that stuff. But I don't want to miss anything, and I kind of want to keep it in a flow that is followable. So, speaking of that, I'm just going to let her go, and if there's any noise in the background, just hopefully there's music that covers it up, and I'm going to try my best not to let it disrupt my concentration. Okay, so here we go. I'm going to shut those off, and then, okay, I'm not going to start all over again, there's no point, because there's really, what you're going to end up starting with is a screen with this window on it, but you just close this window, the auto configuration, you're going to be, that's the video, but either way. Point is, what you really need to be concerned about, I'm going to go through everything on that list that you just seen, and it might not be in exact order, but I'm going to try to put timestamps and map it up as best I can, so that you can skip to the points I've been making throughout the video, which I'm following that list, the list I just showed you, this list right here. So, just go ahead and, this is the overview still, but when I start talking about the audio, and the troubleshooting, which shouldn't be hard, I mean, this is pretty simple, and there's certain audio you can't, but you're gonna get funny, you're gonna get me to explain it in a funnier light, so who knows. It'll be at the end of the video. It's gonna be a kind of a long video, but it's not gonna be that long to learn, so just go to the settings. And once you get to the settings button right down here, I mean, I can zoom in and stuff, but it's right over there. And then you just go to your audio. Make sure you have them set to defaults. And if this doesn't happen, I mean, if you don't get the meters popping up that over here, and you try to test, you know, you're playing a music, let's say a song, an MP3, a website, a YouTube video, and you don't get the desktop audio working, then you're gonna have to troubleshoot, and that just involves you going down here and making sure your audio device is, I mean, the easiest place is just to click on here and make sure that you got it working, and, you know, make sure you can hear your audio, and your audio device is selected as default, which you simply just go here to your default. You know, usually you can select it here and make sure it's playing back. If you hear audio and you don't hear it here, double check and make sure it says what it said earlier, like default. Because that simply just overlooking that, some of that settings could be doing it. But right down here, another place to look and make sure settings are right and testing them and troubleshooting is right here underneath the settings. So you can easily just troubleshoot here. We'll fix a lot of drivers issues. There's certain things where you might have to go in Windows and go to your device manager and look for your HDMI. That could be a possible issue. I don't want to really go too far into the troubleshooting because it's a little advanced, so I don't want to like blow your brain up, and it's a lot of stuff you don't really have. You could be skipping to the next thing, and hopefully I can get those timestamps in there really soon. So control panels, this is another place. You got these 2 tabs up here, playback and recording. Just right click on them, make sure that their default device for your microphone, the one that you're using, you can see, you should be able to see a meter in there. And if that's all that's set up, oh my gosh. Sometimes, very rarely, you might have to restart OBS if you just plug the device in, or if it's being used by another device. But audio doesn't normally have an issue like that, but it could if it's a really old device and it's not fully compatible, or I don't know. Sometimes things can be funny, so sometimes you just gotta play around with the audio. You should have no problem with that. So moving on, I'm gonna talk about the camera settings. I mean, actually the setup first. Setup first. So setup, run the setup. Simple setup. So basically, you're going to go up here to the tools, and you're going to go auto configuration wizard, and just go next. Just go next, and just select the lowest. Start from the bottom, work your way to the top. That's it. I mean, you can always make it bigger. It's easier to stretch everything out. By the time, if this video doesn't show you how to do it, the next one will. I mean, you can easily, once you know what you can hear, you can make it bigger if you want it bigger. And let me go back and explain this just a little bit. I don't want to rush over it too much. So the only reason you're going to want anything higher than 720 is if you have text, which I'm using 1080p right now, so that's what that one is. And it's a higher resolution, so a lot of times text will go in better with 1080p, actually almost every time, because you can see text a lot clearer. So, just keep that in mind. If you're not really like showing like the detailed and you want to see all the detailed, then 720p, it normally isn't noticeable on most devices, so you should be fine with 720p, especially if, you know, you're starting to make sure that everything's going to work fine, and you work your way up until you end up with a problem, a bottleneck, something that's just your system just can't keep up with, so you don't want to work your way down. That always ends up, start with the best and work your way to the slowest. Now, unless you know this part, you can skip this part, by the way. So that's pretty much next. I mean, we'll skip 10 seconds, most likely. You know, we can skip it. Anyways, I'm being quick as I can about this. So, get your string key, and this is the way you can easily test it without having to do, like, speed tests and double-check everything. So, once you get to this, once you click on that get string, a window will pop up like this, you know, a browser. And if you're signed in, you should be signed in, and once you're signed in, you can, I recommend you just go to the control room. If you scroll down to the bottom of here, you have options to do it right here, but you'll have no extra control. Like, you don't have, just do it this way. You can try it the other way if you want. But you want to do the same steps you do here. You want to make sure you have it set to private. Just new stream, like you saw me click on. I need to slow down a little bit. Yeah, so basically I just clicked on the new string, create new string. Yeah, let me back up and show you that again. Control stream, and it brings up this little window here. Make sure you hit this. New stream. I'm not in the rest of this. I'm already going to probably make it fast forward. And so just go test. Make sure it's private. and create screen. And then you're good to go. Almost. Now you got options down here. Now, ultra low latency, that's I try to use that, and it's been buffering lately for me so hard. Low latency be working good. So this is the part where you really gotta pay attention to how often when you're testing this, right? You're really gonna have to pay attention to this part. So make sure you're like, I'm gonna use this just because it's gonna be a lot faster on this display, and it's gonna show the data a little bit quicker. So for testing, this is fine. But for going live, for hitting this button, this is going live on this particular. The other one, that you don't have the control over here. So even if you're private or not, it doesn't matter. So you're not even live right now. I mean, because it's set to private, but you're not live until this goes green and you're able to click that button. That means your encoder's set up properly and stuff like that. So make sure you hit this copy key. I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself. And then you have just make sure you copy it over here, and you can just double click it, just select it all, make sure it's just highlighted, and then Control V, or you can select it all, right click, paste, or you can go Control A and then Control V. While you're holding Control, don't forget to hold Control and hit A, or you can just double click. Go with the first one; it's easiest. I just have to show you all the ways, just to make it super confusing. Sorry, I can't help myself. All right, but calm down. Just get the key in there and hit next, and then hit Apply Settings, because you can always go back and correct anything that happened wrong here. And you can always change everything. But you can look at everything too, and you can always Google it and find it. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments below, and I'll get to them as soon as I can. Apply Settings. Now, this is how you're testing it. So we already got the audio set up, so we know the audio should be working fine. So we're going to hit Start, and you're not going to be able to hear the audio unless you actually go live by hitting the live button. But here's what it's going to look like. It's going to pop up with a preview. You should, if you already know this, by the way, just skip to the next section, because you already know how to play with this. So unless you like looking at me, you just want to catch my kids and see them, listen to them fight or something. I have to say. But anyways, you're going to see this. You can go to low latency and see, but, oh yeah, there's one point. This is one point about the troubleshooting and settings right down here. This right here, make sure this is steady. If that's completely steady in 720p and it's sending these many kilobits out and it's right there and it's in the green, you don't have to really look at the number, but you'll notice the number. If that's ever red and 0, you know you're offline. It's not working anymore. You're no longer broadcasting. Yeah, and then it'll tell you what the problem is. No data, or yeah, pretty much disconnected. And even OBS will complain and say, can't connected, ain't disconnected. I mean, yeah, basically just gonna know that you lost connection to the internet. But see how it just turned yellow? It'll do the same thing. So anyways, once you know you got it gold in there, go ahead and stop this, because you don't need it running unless you're actually gonna go live. Yeah, no point in like pissing off the preview. Okay, so on to the next one. Now, cameras, you're gonna set up your camera, and I already got mine set up. But I have it set up. I started my scenes, and I have 2 different cameras here, and I was explaining how to do this. So either way, I'm gonna set up another one, so you know how to set up a camera, and give you the understanding that you really need to know as fast as I can, but not really, because you don't really rush over this. I mean, not if you don't know how to get the camera set up. I'd recommend you listening to this, and I'm going to give you a few tips at the end. I'm going to go back over this at the end, like I showed you in the list, and they'll be in the description, so you can skip to interesting parts, so don't forget that. Alright, so here is the snack camera. That's what I use. I like to use it because it doesn't glitch out as much as my actual camera, and plus, it calms me. I don't get pissed off as much. I've been looking at myself talk as a cat. I don't know. I mean, I could do it as a... Yeah, no, worry about that. Either way, the point is, you're going to have a little bit more difficult issues sometimes with these things. So, either way, when you're not using that, you just want to select the device you have. You'll find it in here. You'll find it. And you normally can just get it to work with the default device settings. If you do struggle with it, make sure you just try this. Just try this. I mean, if you ever get to this point and you are trying to set up your camera, and if I get it, I'll do a whole separate video on this, because there's a lot of ways to troubleshoot these. But I'm going to give you the one that just works 90% of the time for me. A lot of the time, something else is using your camera. That's number one. Something is using your damn camera, and you can't get it to turn on. So pretty much make sure nothing's using your camera, and that should take care of the problem. And a lot of times you'll have to disconnect it or reactivate if something was using it. Particular PCs and older versions of Windows 10 do have that issue. I mean, with it holding onto it, and you gotta like unplug it and turn it back in. But either way, if you do, you simply just deactivate, reactivate. And if it's being used, you gotta stop the program, because I couldn't get this to work unless I stopped using Snap Camera, or got it off of, for instance, if I had to take it off of this and put it on my game capture card, and then I can deactivate and activate. And there you go. See? I need a shave. I'm just being lazy. But there you go. And then I can go right back to the thing over here, and boom. But anyway, that's pretty much what you might run into. And it should just be default. It should work with default. But if it doesn't, you will have to go to custom and then keep trying the resolution that you know your camera set at in the settings of your camera. And make sure that the settings app isn't using your camera. So, camera issues. I'm telling you, you might have them. So, now organizing your sources and stuff. You really got to, like, I like the camera, I'm organizing it. So this is the scenes and sources are pretty much interchangeable. But the scenes and the filters, there's a difference between putting the filters in the scenes. So I'll be going with that in a second here. But, okay, bear with me. I'm trying to ignore my kids are playing. So, I'm going to add another camera. Well, I don't even really have to, because you just saw, I just had to go apply. It would have just been camera device 3. So, let's see. Organizing them, let's say, now I got main. And I added a text. Or a text, you know, a test text. Whatever. I'm not complaining. And I got this one hidden. Here's another thing about your scenes. You can literally, these little buttons here, you gotta be very much aware of which one's hidden and which one's not, because, and which part they are, because, I mean, this could be the most confusing part. So, feel free to skip to the end of the video if you're getting irritated to rewind and come back to this later. I know that this part kind of really frustrated me when I was learning it at the beginning, because I couldn't figure out why the heck the camera, and then I realized, I mean, you can sometimes realize it, but if you're not paying a particular attention to what part or what layer is, and then sometimes, this is another thing that really irritates you, let's just say, oh, this whole thing's completely off to the point where you can't even get this thing complete, it's all the way off the map. I just threw it off the map. That's not even there. And this can happen. Look, I got it. It's visible. It's at the top layer, but it's not working. Oh, and by the way, these come in handy when you're trying to like drag and drop, because you can click on them and drag and sometimes I'll show you something there really quick, but if I don't forget. So if you actually move up your scene, but if you get this, remember there's other ways to maneuver. Really, they're really easy. This will help move it. If the drag and drop doesn't work very well for you and it's really frustrating, just go ahead and use these arrows to maneuver them up and down. That can save you a lot of trouble. Just make sure they're highlighted. And unfortunately, OBS still hasn't freaking heard my cry for this damn thing to be bigger text. You know, people are freaking blind, damn it. Like, I mean, I'm getting blind, I'm getting old. I'm sick of this stuff being so small. And there's no way to, like, unless I change my screen resolution to a grandma freaking resolution. Well, yeah, well, pretty much like 480 by 620 or, I don't know, really, really small. It's not even a 16.9 ratio. Anyways, bear with me, I'm rambling again. Alright, so basically what you want to do is, oh wait, see? That's right, back to the thing. Okay, hopefully you're following me. Take deep breaths, come back. I know you're losing you, I'm losing you. Transform. Right click, transform. Look at this. Follow this. If you lose it, this is where you're going to have to go. I know you can't see me because I'm like way over in the corner here. So, and please, I mean, hopefully my music drowns out my kids, but they're just playing, so there's no big deal. Good background sounds. Unless they start fighting. Okay, let's hope they don't. You take a look at this, because everything in here does exactly what you would think. Pretty close. I mean, you can edit the transform, you can copy the transform, you can paste the transform. That's just the transformation. You don't really need that right now, but you can go ahead and play with them. But the most important part is the most used that I've always used is the fit to screen. So that will get it fit to screen so that you can yeah, now you have to find it. All right. Now on to the next one. That's pretty much part of your screen things. Okay, now this one's like oversized image. You see that? I mean, it's how you can tell that it's an oversized image because it's like it's stretched. That's probably because I switched to the smaller screen size and I was at 1080p. So there's your example of what the difference is. A red line represents the difference between, and like you can't even really see the whole entire red line because the preview kind of won't even, unless I go like that, then you can kind of see it. But it's not really like the ratio is not, even this monitor won't show the ratio of the, unless the red line's just hidden. But yeah, you can see it. It's like it was at 1080p. It was forced to be that. Pretty sure. But either way, easy fix. Transform. Fit the screen. I think I did that on purpose because it doesn't fit the ratio. See, fit the screen. Now watch what happens when I do this. Transform is the difference. Stretch the screen. So now it fits the full screen. Instead of fighting this part, because you're gonna get really aggravated and want to freaking like go, yeah, this can be frustrating to use this for everything. So when you get to the particular point where you just kind of want it centered and even, and you want it, you want your camera like, you don't want it this big, and you want it at the top center, or just go to the filters, go to transform, and you can see it right here. Center vertically, center flip horizontally. Well, I wouldn't want to know if you want to be sideways, but everything here will do what you want with certain aspects. So no, because you're driving me nuts. I know, I heard you. Thank you so much. I asked you to be quiet. All right, fit this. Okay, stretch the screen. Don't mind them. They've been driving me nuts all day. They won't listen to me. Alright, center the screen. So if you get all the way over here, you can pretty much should be able to do a couple other things. I know they're going to probably hopefully add some other things. But center vertically. So that'll position center. And there's a couple of, if you want to get centered in a certain position. Transform does help, you know. Center horizontally. Center vertically. So that just helps you position. Like even if I'm up here, you know, and I want it to be right in the dead center. Or it's gonna only put it in there. So just the most popular ones right here. Just this will help you out though, a lot better than trying to get things, you know, whatever. But either way, this does work too. You can just go and organize your scene, you know, and you can have multiple. And you use the camera and the other thing to do it. I hope I'm not like getting distracted from my kids. Knock knock. Yeah, that's why I'm not gonna end this. I don't even try to cut this out. I hope it doesn't bother you, because it's the only thing it's really getting aggravating. I know it's like not. It's actually might be harder to explain than it is to actually learn. All right, so. Recapping. Okay, where am I at? Screens and filters. Alright, scenes and filters. Okay, now I think I explained this a little backwards. So you can add filters on your actual scenes, which can make it easier to do it. But if you want multiple filters on multiple cameras, and you want to just come in here and add filters to like one camera and then just change only one camera, like I got a filter put on think it's this one, yeah. And it's the bottom layer. So I can put this at the top layer and tell you that this this works. Always seems to work a lot better. But now this thing's frustrating me. What? Up. Okay, they both kind of piss me off. What the heck? So even that doesn't even bugs out. I've got everything open. Okay. This should be selected. You saw that. It just wants to piss me off. What the hell? What am I doing? That's causing that to happen. Okay, I don't have any windows open. Did I leave one open? Because that'll piss you off. I swear. Yeah, that window. I have a window open. Yeah, because that'll cause issues with things not working right. Can't have a settings window open, even if you have two of them open, two versions open, and depending on where you opened it. Today, I can't even get it to freaking pop up. I think it closed on its own. Oh my god. It didn't. So it's right here. Why does it keep hiding? Oh, you freaking butt muncher. It's there and then it goes away. Okay, why are you being a bit... This is why I just don't like making OBS videos anymore, ever. Okay. You freaking butt. It's not even like... Why is this open? Why is this open? Why is all this crap open? Because it should not disappear like that. Yeah, that'll make you want to keep freaking trying this thing, especially when it bugs out. If it bugs out, just close it out. Go, tickle the crap out of your freaking kids, because that's what they need. And come back and do it. But just close it out. I mean, I'm about ready to go out there and just like Chinese torture. I mean, yeah, I'm not kidding you one bit. It's about where I'm about ready to go. And yeah, so that better closed out that damn window and fixed it. Yeah, see? Make sure you close windows after you're done using them. Sometimes it glitches it out. But that one got hidden. I mean, I got two windows open and I had that open and it just got freaking very irritating. So you don't take any breath, close it out, and you're good. Now let me go on. I mean, and hope you realize this is how you troubleshoot too. So I mean, I hope you're enjoying the misery and how annoying, because you're not even watched the end of the movie yet. You're really, or damn, it's gonna be as long as a freaking movie. Call this the OBS tutorial movie of hell. I'm not kidding you one bit. This is how I feel right now. This is the filter in my life. I mean, even the filter upon the filter, because this is what I did. And I haven't went to this. I'm not even skip ahead. But you got color and you got noise. You only need that if your camera has the audio built in, and yeah, it might not work with. It doesn't work with It doesn't work very well with OBS and Snap Camera. Just the scene does, and you usually got to import it in, unless they fixed it. I don't know. And just do it the way you have your audio going, like I showed you before. It's been working fine. It should still work for you. Okay. Here we go. So I'm gonna go with this thing. Where am I leaving off? My kids are just really getting on my nerves. Chinese torture time. They should just take a break and watch this. Ha ha ha. Alright. Scenes and filters. That's where we're at. Scenes and filters. So I've got a filter on this one. Filters are added just like this. Right click filters. See, I don't have a filter on this one. I'm gonna add a filter. I'm gonna add, well, that's not the right filter. That's the audio filters. So I'm gonna add a chroma key. And I'm gonna show you, well, this isn't even turned on, I don't think, so you can't really even see it. And oh yeah, and by the way, this is sometimes you have to have one turn. Like, see, since I got this and I have my other one on, it's really hard to switch between real camera and like the real camera and your altered camera. Why do I keep shaking the frickin' window? Like it's gonna get my point across or something. It's making me more. It's like maybe Windows says, "Don't shake your frickin' windows. Your pants will fall down." Oh my god. You know what? No, didn't click on you. Okay. Regardless. It works really good with Snap Camera, but you will have to if you don't have to. If you can't use Snap Camera, oh my god! Switching between multiple cameras might be a little pain in the butt. Play around with them. I might have to make a whole tutorial on that because I'm getting a little freaking. But either way, you can have. But just see, look, I stopped this one, and I'm gonna get this one to work with Snap Camera, but just activate it because it's not turned on. That's why it wasn't working. But it wouldn't have worked because my other camera wasn't set to Snap Camera. Anyways, you can see I'm just tiny bit frustrated. Okay, I've only been trying to get this video up to you guys for a long time. Just remember just please don't forget these little locks in case you don't want them to move. If you have them in certain positions, just that'll make it so you don't accidentally move it around when you're trying to adjust and set things up. Trying not to stop the video. Trying really hard not to. And I forgot this turn plug in my AC. Okay. You follow with me? Where do I leave off? Filters. Okay, you got filters. Got a filter on this one. I got a chroma key. Now I want to make something look kind of creepy. Just show you. Like, I want to make a custom chroma key. Now, first off, I'm going to turn it off because I don't want this green affecting the color of green that might be missing from the object that I'm clicking on. Most likely won't happen, but it can. Something like that, it might, and especially if it's a mixed color. So you're going to pick screen color, and ooh, everything on the screen is getting the exact color. So I'm going to take away my hat. I want my hat and my bow tie to be invisible. Or even the pupils of my eyes. Like, probably won't even, it'll just show the background or something. Pretty sure it's going to take away the color of this as soon as I hit OK, and I turn it back on with the eye. Oh, yeah, I got to drop that down as black. Actually, look at that blackness. You got to turn down the, oh yeah, that's right, you do have to turn down the smoothness. And the black's really hard to, like, get to work without a lot of bright dip, because there's a lot of black in everything. I don't even think that's actually true black. You'd have better luck just choosing regular black with this, I'm pretty sure. And just trying to get the top hat, because it's not even really, it's like a glossy black. Some chroma is really made for like red and blue and green, but it can be used for white. I've got it to work pretty good with white, and I've got it to work for black. It just really depends on what's around it, and I guess everything that's around it. I need a lot of black and everything in this character. There's a lot, so it's taking a lot out, and it's you can't even really finally adjust like the smoothness, because you can see anything that's not like anything that's red or anything that's opposite of black that doesn't complement black at all. I don't know how you'd actually say that, but either way, chroma key, filter. And then you got the crop and pad. I mean, you gotta play around with all these, because this is how you basically, you can crop, you can set it up all perfect and stuff. Make it so it looks nice and fancy. Oh wow. You can just go defaults and set it right back. But either way, you can get that set up, and then you got the cool like color correction, you know, or you can go color filter, and the layers do affect things. So if I were to move the color pink up here, or like whatever color you choose, I mean red, and then turn it down so it doesn't like cover up everything. It makes some really creepy stuff happen by basically changing your chroma key to a reddish color, and then turning up the similarity a little bit, and then maybe even adjusting the darkness of the red here. And you see that I'm not even on the camera that actually has this applied. So yeah, let me see. And then if you see how I have the trippy days. Now look if I turn off the other camera. See, isn't that kind of neat? Or you can throw an overlay and then take away the background and make just kind of like all sorts of creepy stuff. Either way, it's really fun to mess around with this stuff. And then another really cool tip, which I don't know if I should just jump to the next topic, probably. I could literally ramble on all day about this stuff, so. Hey, mark the time, go to the end for laughing at how annoying this can be. Come back and enjoy some more. Alright, recap, let's see. Okay, went through the scenes, filters. Oh yeah, you can add filters right on directly on scenes. But why you wouldn't want to do that to your camera is because you can basically set shortcut keys. And I didn't put that in the thing, but this is kind of like, we're already really past it. So this is pretty much, it's going to be as scenes. We're talking about scenes. So if you want to start this one over, this is a recap. So I've already went to the filters and everything. Pretty much talked plenty about that, I think. But this is like, and stuff I missed in the recap. And I hope I'm not talking too fast. I know I'm speeding this up. I know for a fact. I wonder how fast that sounds. It's not even really speaking. Oh, you won't even be able to make out. Sounds like the Chipmunk family. Alright. Alrighty. So, what did I miss? Okay, so basically what I was thinking, since I already do have this part set up, is a cool feature that I think you really should try to figure out. So, since cams, and the reason why you wouldn't want to put a filter on cam, is because you can't really switch between the inner layers and only use one camera as your source, and have everything set up for all your keys. So, see, look, I got 2 in 1, I had this set up. Now, you just gotta remember that, and it's still gonna have a little bit of delay, or you just set it up and play around with it. I mean, one's gonna turn off and turn on, and if you get it set up right, and you do it, and you set it up with your, studio mode, and you don't even have, nobody's going to notice it. You can just transition when you know it's ready, but you have the shortcut key to switch it faster than you want. And you can have zoom ins, like you can have one scene zoomed all the way in, and I'm going to show you, let's see, so we got 2, 1, 1, 2, and then that's the one thing that I really don't like, is you have to make a whole nother one to turn off 2 and 1, but it doesn't really matter, because as long as you have the one that's below it, but this won't work with it unless you get a virtual camera, and that's why you do like to have the virtual camera, because you can use that as a virtual camera, and that you can actually apply. Because you could turn your camera into a virtual camera, just like Snap Camera, and then that's another way to avoid an annoying little feature of swapping between your real camera. I'll have to add that into another tutorial, though. So, let me know if you want me to make that video in the description if you're interested. So, I'm just gonna forget about this, but either way, it's really kind of frustrating that you know, and I know that's a problem, because you can't. It's like when you have one video capturing device already turned on, and you got another one turned on, and you can't make the other one on visible, or if it doesn't recognize it's on visible, it might just disable your camera and cause you some problems. So yeah, the devices are. That's why, like, if you don't have a virtual device, I recommend it. I'm gonna have the video probably posted on this video, just because I think it's really like it's gonna help you with this particular like setup right here. So you don't really need to use that one, but you can, like, when you have multiple scenes, by copying them. Yeah, so I mean, but still, you can make this. You can make this. I mean, you can make one key shut off both of these cameras when you go to this camera, but then you'd have to make something else to do that. There's probably a way, but it's just I don't think it's way too much work. And there's software. There's software you can use to make the switching process a lot easier. Also, I'll have to make something on that, or a link to a video that I know is really good at explaining that. By the way, I've not used it yet, so I can still go 3, and it still should work with a virtual driver. So you don't have to really worry about it turning off and on, as long as the one that is above it's turned off. So whatever's in the list, and it really helps to name these a little bit more clear. Since I got device 2 to device 1, 3, 2, that's not the right way to organize it. It should be device 1, 2, 3. So when you come over here, you know, even though it's still organized in the right way here, it still might make it a little bit more easier to follow along. So that's just one thing that is like, yeah. And don't try to delete what's in this box. Just start retyping in the thing, because I keep doing that myself. Just hit like Control, then Shift, then 1. Or, yeah, I mean, you don't really need that, but you literally can just make this, since it's the second one in line, 2. Oh my god, I keep trying to hit the backspace like I made a mistake. See, this can be a little irritating. I haven't used it. You knock again. Yeah, I'm sure you do. I want you to wear yourself out and go to bed. Okay, so So yeah, that won't work. But yeah, I'm just gonna change this one to 3. Anyways, yes, it can be funny. Can be funny. Yeah, I'll burn out. Sorry, I mean I'm not really this hard at it. But yeah, I'm a little tired. Kids have been wearing me out all day. And you'll see that, like I do all the times I've been trying to mess with this thing. Yeah, this has been a funny, frustrating video since my mistakes and everything else. Laugh at myself, laugh at you. You can laugh at me, okay? we all. And I did it again. I want that to be. I don't think it's gonna work right, but I recommend you just play around with it, because I still have been playing around with it. It's been a while since I messed with this, and I'm still working on trying to get the hang of it, because I always forget the damn keys. So if you really have a good memory about shortcut keys, you can do really good with this. And then just it's pretty much like programming the keys. So you're gonna end up with like. You see, all I am is holding down Control Shift, and I'm tapping 1, 2, or 3. 1, 2, or 3. I'm hitting 1, 2, or 3. And so I can easily switch between these. And you just tap them a couple times and you can switch, you know. It does work. You can get it to work. But sometimes, you know, certain things don't work like it normally does, so don't get frustrated. Just take your time and realize it's hard to do 2 things at once, so, you know, sometimes you gotta just go in and play with it yourself and look at it very carefully. That's just, and just remember your sound drivers are right here, default. Make sure your stream key, make sure that matches up, because, you know, every time you start a new one, like we started a whole brand new one and went right to it, you just go here again, start a new stream, name it what you want, make sure it's public, if you know you got it working, because you don't technically have to go live on that one, like I was telling you, you don't have to go live, you don't have to mark it private. Although I think it might send out a notification if you don't send it private, but you have to go to edit and turn it private. So, I mean, it won't hurt you, because you won't actually be live, it'll just give them a notification that they're waiting on you. And that's what will happen if you don't set it private. So just know when you go here, either way you do it. I like the one where you can just see the preview and get the things, and make sure you know you're golden and you have no settings issues, especially if you've already. But you know you got to set up your golden. You know you can still just wait to make sure you're golden before you go. And that's the thing I like about it the most, is you don't have to set it to private. You literally have time to fix it before you go live. And that is, you can show your key to make sure it matches too. But just don't show it to anybody, because you know it can be, they don't want why you think it's hidden. There's a reason for it. Believe me, there's a reason for it. I mean, don't show anybody your stream key. But that method when you're setting the stream key in there, it'll make it, the other key will actually go live immediately, and anybody with that key can go live on OBS without your password. So if you have it set, if you have it set on a computer and it's in there, and yeah, it's that key down there, you'll have to reset it to get a different one, and it gives you a button down there, at the very bottom of that page, this page, not the one that you go to the thing, creating a new stream there. And then you can actually manage your keys, and you can go there and just select one that you created for the particular. Let me go over that real quick, because I think I missed this. Oh yeah, I'm going to have to add this to the beginning list, you know? I'm going to have to add that to this list, which will be in the description. If I have time tonight. If I actually get this video done today. Ain't looking like it, but I don't know if hopefully I get it uploaded and you guys can tell me. Maybe somebody gets some time and watch the whole video and marks everything in the description. Yeah, anybody you want to help, you're more than welcome to. You can even put in the funniest parts, too. Major shout out. No joke. Okay, so I do plan on making videos on a whole bunch of other different software, so please feel free to stay tuned. But now I'm jumping back and forth, but regardless. Okay, so I do need to show you this part, because I really think this is going to help you out for setting it up. So you got this little part right here, where it says auto-generated key. So if you do not want to have to keep going back over here and adding in your key all the time, for OBS, this is just OBS. This is getting used to OBS. Now, Streamlabs is a little bit different than OBS, except for it's the same thing. So once you get it set up all nice and neat in here, everything moves over to Streamlabs, like, pretty much like butter. It just goes over there because it's based off of this. Except for like your virtual camera is gone, and your 3D elements is gone, and yeah, all that stuff. I don't know what the heck just flew in my mouth, but I feel like something came in my mouth. Alright. This freaking cat's got fleas. Okay, so, what else did I miss? Oh yeah, what was I looking at? So, oh yeah. How did I freaking forget what I was saying here? Create new stream key. Set your video bitrate to exactly what matches the end of the thing. So if you started with the lowest, that's 720p. If you started with 1080p, it's right here. Make sure you set your bitrate to what the recommended is, otherwise you might get a complaint. You know, and make sure you're not getting errors through the thing. So the higher the number on the kilobits, which is megabits, by the way, it's like 6 megabits roughly. I'm not gonna be all technical about it, but I do kind of know the bits and bytes and kilobits and megabits and yeah. See how it switches up to 13 megabits per second for 1080p, 6 to 13. That's a huge difference in quality. That's like low definition 4K. That's not even 4K. That's Ultra HD actually. And this is high definition. This is ultra high definition, and this is like, oh my god, I can't remember. It's something like that. But either way, you can tell the difference. I mean, they got so many different things, but 4K is 4K, and that's a hell of a higher resolution than this. So unless you can support that, you're gonna get a definite error if you can't. A lot of people can support that. I know I would be able to support the low, probably barely the low range of that. So I'm just saying you might want to make sure that you can do it if you are planning on doing it. You're going to need a really fast computer to encode that much definition. I mean, that's a lot of pixels, a lot of data every single second for your computer to basically handle. So just set it up. This is just how to reuse your key. So you're going to set up I would just name it what exactly you want. Let's say I want a 720p. So I'm going to name this 720 pixel. Well, don't hold shift when you're typing it in. Cap locks don't work for numbers. Oh yeah, unless you got a number pad, then it doesn't matter. 720p, and then, wait, what is, oh, that's description. Okay. Oh, what the hell, I guess I really didn't even need a description. What the hell did they put that? Okay, so, name and description. I guess you might have a description for what particular thing. So you got a name and description right here. So I'm just gonna make them the same, but either way, this will create a key for me that is always, once I go in here, and find it in this list of all these, like, StreamYard generated keys. Yep, that's what those are, I'm pretty sure. Alright, so, 720p, boom. But now, it's gonna kick me out because my key's not the same. But if I always go here and select this key is never gonna have to change in OBS. So, if you wanted to know how to do that, I hope, your brain isn't missing, I hope you're able to follow along with that. So, let me explain that again in case you missed it. Yeah, we can rewind. But pretty much I just showed you exactly how to, fix that part. You just have to set it at the name of description, and then you got your... All you really need to be aware of is this and your key. Anything else is just, you can just troubleshoot it. And that is me trying a different server, and which you don't need to even worry about these because they're already built into OBS. So, the only thing you have to change over here is this. Now, you got other settings over here, but that's just beyond. You can turn on that, but that's for a 360 camera, or a 360 layout, which I hope they do come out soon. That'd be kind of neat to have a layout in here, a plugin that you can actually, like, set everything up in 3D. Hint, hint, programmers. Alright, so, on to the next one. But you do also have these. So, look at these tabs. These are also tabs you might want to definitely get to know. So don't forget to go through those tabs. Because you do get to see how many people are watching when you go live, and you can see your viewer activity and your stream health. And this will tell you whether some active thing popped up and you didn't know it. It'll be in here and it'll give you an explanation. So that's just another troubleshooting tip for you. Now, if you have an echo, the echo is probably coming from the fact that you're not wearing a headset. Or your kids are mocking you, or you have a parrot. And those things I can't fix. That'd be kind of funny. I mean, I don't know what would... that would be kind of just as annoying. Kids just... Anyways. Okay, I'm awake. But if your sounds, you get an echo, you gotta wear headphones. Or you're literally gonna have an echo in 2 different areas, because if you don't have like unless you have a plug-in for OBS that I am not aware of, or you have a really good mic with noise cancellation, a really fancy noise cancellation, that's like one directional, your speakers are gonna feed back in through your mic. But they do make those kind of really fancy phone, like cone mics that you can just literally put your, yeah, they have those. But other than that, if you don't got some fancy mic like that, like I know my friend does, I know a few people that do, but if you don't, you get an echo, it's because you got a crappy mic. And I think I already mentioned the filter, right? I think I did. I don't know. I probably didn't, because I probably had to delete the video because my kids were probably saying some dirty words, or I was yelling at them. So, yelling at your kids doesn't help. Just take deep breaths. Go out there and bribe them with candy. If that doesn't work, just bite the bullet. It happened to me. I think I left it going too long, so just FYI, make sure it's blue when you're not like really troubleshooting your connection speed. You know your connection speed good. You just really want to use this as you're about ready to go live. You want to make sure everything is going to be okay. But when you're first setting it up, you might want to let it go a little bit longer, just because sometimes it takes about 10 to 30 seconds to really kind of show you there's a problem. Because it'll recommend like certain settings, or it'll say you'll know your connection is good. If you don't need it on all the time. I mean, not for the testing. Just use this when you really want to make sure everything's running, and then look at it. Give it a moment. You know, I mean, you're gonna notice a problem here, but periodically check to make sure. I mean, especially when you go to these settings, any settings in this area right here, like your output, and you're using your encoding. Anything you change here, make sure it's gonna be compatible over here, and you can still use the. You know, if you want to test your quality on another device or just another web browser, if your computer is like you're not really super slow and stuff, because it might actually cause watching a video might actually cause something. That's a good thing to test too. So you can actually go live when it tells you can go live, and as long as you make sure you have it set to private, you're good. There ain't anything you really have to worry about. I mean, you'll know you're private, so you can just look and make sure your quality's coming in good and everything, and you can mess around with these settings. Now, where did I leave off? Okay, a little bit more on scenes and filters. Now, this is mainly, I kind of went over scenes just a little bit, right? Just a little bit, went over the scenes. The scenes are really, you gotta make sure you close this window too. You just can't drag it out of the way. You can't click on anything, so. Everything is set up right here. Okay, just make sure you go through this too. Make sure you just go and look through it, because I mean, it's pretty much default, so you don't really have to worry about it, but you might find something, especially in the hotkeys, which I shall probably go over in another video. So, anyways, back to scenes and filters. Simply, now filters can be applied to sources or scenes. And if you're applying it to your camera, I mean, choose which route you want to go. Like, you literally just have to go for filters, and you can have as many scenes. You can copy your scene, so build your scene with as much stuff as you want. Like, I've already added this, so I can make this text. Text, whatever, it doesn't matter, it's a test. So, and make sure you go through, and you see these little things, you can just go through and look. I mean, you got a lot of, you can make an outline with a different color, like, and once you go okay, and then you've got the outline set. I think 20 is the highest. But yeah, you can make text with an outline on it. And yeah, and if I told you before, I'm not sure, but I'll tell you again. Make sure that it's not below. Everyone here, and if you're, let's say if you had a window capture, show you an example of a window capture real quick. Boom, there's a window capture. Now, this will be hidden if I drag down. You know, but it's an echo. That's why I'm using another copy of OBS, because that would be extremely annoying oh yeah. And if you ever do this by accident, here, which I'm trying to move things around. You can try to move it back. Sometimes that doesn't work. But you can always go to your view. And then it's pretty simple. It's under docs and reset UI. So if you don't see that, it's right there. Reset UI. It's under view, docs. Reset user interface. Lock UI, so you can't do crap. I mean, yeah, but you got other options there. But I was at reset UI, and all that does is put all your layouts back to default, so you don't have to oh my god, my scene's out of the way, I can't figure out how to put it back. Well, that's a simple way to put it back. You know, this way because I messed it up before. But that is scenes, that is part of the organizing, and it's kind of mixed in. But you know what I get. I think it's important. So, and if I didn't mention this, let me mention it again, just in case. You got your eyeball here, and you also got your layer. So remember that one layer is below another layer, it's not going to be visible. So as you can see, my text is invisible. Why isn't it showing? Well, move it to the top. And if you can't get it to drag up like this, it won't move to the damn top, which you can do, but sometimes especially if it's the very top is one, it becomes like a pain in the butt. There's arrows down here that make it pretty simple. And I think you can even probably do something else. There's probably you can probably use an arrow key maybe, or a shortcut key to that. I haven't really tried it out. This works for me, and don't make it too complicated than it is. Just play around with it, what you become comfortable with, and the more comfortable you get with it, the easier it is going to be to set things up, make cool scenes, do what you want, be creative. There's so many options you got here, especially with the filters. Like, with the filters, I can literally make, it wouldn't really work good on that, but this is kind of cool. This is where you would use, let's just say if I had a green screen, or if I was using, let's just say maybe if I was using one of these filters, and I actually, the ones that I made, and had this, and I didn't want my background, I wanted to actually have a background. Now here, this is about scenes, right? So I'm going to add an image as a background. So, let's see, and I just go browse, and then I would go to one of my recent, I can go to my downloads and find, let's see what it doesn't matter. You can use that, you can use whatever. Anyway, so I basically have to drag this down, or you can drag it down, or you can use the arrows below, up or down. But now, I got a background, but I can't see it. I got this invisible, which I can delete, you know, so that's going to show up above the image, but then it would be my background, the window capture. I mean, I'll show you that here in a second. I mean, because it really doesn't matter what, it's just, you got to understand the principle. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to do it. You have to make sure you have the camera selected, and then filters. Now the chroma key is the one that you'd want to use for a green screen or anything like that. So just, you don't have to name it unless you have multiple and you want to play around with that, because you can't have multiple chroma keys, you have multiple all sorts of stuff. It's so fun to play with, you guys, it really is. So the default is green and it's already set up. With that color green, you do have the similarity. Now the similarity will make it so how close it is to the color. Now, let's just say if you have a really hard time and a camera that doesn't have a thing, you might have to choose custom. And the cool thing about custom, I mean, this is probably beyond the scope of this, but either way, you can actually pick the screen color of what your camera is and match it up completely. And then you'd have to turn, if you did that, you would have to turn the similarity down even more. Because look, I mean, first off, you'd want to make sure that it was turned off up there to do the custom thing, because you can't really select the appropriate screen color unless it's like not using the custom color it's already got. So you're gonna pick the screen color either here or over here, anywhere that's on the screen that matches it. You see how it pops up over in that little box right over there? Just click it and go okay. Now what happens is once I turn this on, you see how close it is. It removes it might remove some blur on certain cameras. So that's just a tip to get the chroma key to work with your green screen too. So this is filters. Now this is one filter you can do, and now there's some other cool filters that I think are fun to play with. Now you can crop if you have, like, let's just say your green screen and your camera is so wide you can't pick out, you know, your green screen. Just, you don't really want to show like you look too tiny, or all sorts of different things. So you use crop and pad, and crop and pad is super easy because it's just left relative. So I could crop it left. How many pixels? Crop it right, top, bottom. Pretty much. Put your numbers in. You'll see it happen live over here. And whatever's behind you, since it's whole screen, I can't really show you that until if I turn it off. But just you'll be able to see it live. So I mean, that's not going to change anything if it's all set to 0. So that's kind of irrelevant unless it's changed. Now this is the other one. I mean, that's the useful one. This is just the fun one. Color correction or color key. I mean, you can play with these. They do different types of things. You'll have to install something for the 3D transformation, which is really fun. I'll have to make another tutorial on that one, because you have to install it, and it's another application. It's a plugin, which you don't get with Streamlabs, and you don't get the another thing, which is a virtual camera right here, which can be used for like zoom and stuff. Okay, so color. Let's show you the color one real quick. Making this super too long. It's supposed to be just a simple one, but this is fun. This is why I want you to continue to play it, and you're just gonna have a lot of fun with it, just like with Snap Camera. So I can literally make myself kind of a greenish monster cat now, and I can change it. And when I switch over, it doesn't really matter, and I can turn off my chroma key if it really affects this. And that you can also change things that if the layer here on these effects do seem to. I mean, they'll overpower and kind of things. But for instance, watch. I made a green thing, right? And if I move this up top, look, it actually gives a transparency effect to the color key. So there's something to realize, that these are the other layers that I forgot to mention. Okay. So this is still the filters, but you know, regardless, I'm going into what I realized, because I almost forgot those actually do apply. So if I go back, if I change this to a different color, like, wait a second, remember that? If I turn off this, and then let's just say I want to have my color key on. Now I want to go back to my chroma key. Now what happens if I change? It's just an experiment, and you can play with it all you want, and you come up with something really interesting. Is pick the screen. I'm going to pick the screen color that I kind of want to get rid of, that's green, and it's going to be the shade of the green, whatever I choose that's overlaying it. So when I turn on this, see the effect it does? I mean, it's like ghostly, right? But these are the filters that you can play with. And there's not only that, when you get the plugins and you get the 3Ds and you get the displacement mapping, figure that one out. It is pretty cool. Beyond the explanation of this video, it'd be way too long. Okay, but you can recommend you play with it. You can't really hurt anything, because you can always just go like negative, delete it, and say, it's fine, but wow, I don't know exactly how to get it to do what I want. Yeah, because it is kind of fun to play with, but it's hard to get it to do exactly what you want. It gets close sometimes, but it's just you gotta learn how to get the map right, and I have yet to figure out the map right. Still learning that part. So regardless. So there's enough. Now if you wanted to now this is the thing about having the difference of having them on a camera and a thing. Now if you wanted to, you literally now when I copy this camera, let's say not copy, if I copy this scene, but you can find the filters right here if you do it on your camera. But if you have it here, and you have a list of all the same of your cameras, or if you actually, you can watch this. This is another thing about scenes I forgot. So if I add another source of a camera, which I don't know if I can really. Yeah, you can only. I think you can only do it with. As long as you do this, like if it's your real camera, this is the one thing you do have to check when you're doing multiple scenes, because it might give you a problem. And that's like if you have multiple cameras. See, I have this camera up now, but it's hidden because it's the bottom layer now, because it can become a pretty fun effect. Now, since the whole entire scene has a filter on it, you're not gonna notice this effect. That's because it's on the whole entire scene, and it's not on just a filter. So. Now, that's why sometimes you don't want to put the filters on the actual scene itself, but it makes it easier to find the filter, and it's right there in the scenes. And I can go on and on. So I recommend you guys play around with this, because if you add them to these, same place, same options, except for you do get, like, don't worry about it when it comes to certain things, but, like, your camera might come with a built-in audio, or your Elgato, or whatever other audio. You can actually add the audio filters to this, because it's going to be built in. Or you can even go over here more conveniently and add your audio filters into here. And I do recommend you add a noise suppression, because that'll cut out your kids a little bit. If you have kids, or your loud-ass barking dog, or your neighbor truck driving by. You know, it'll cut out some of the static in your mic too. So the default seems to be working perfect for me, but you can adjust it and play with it all you want, and whatever works, because everybody's mic's different. So there's a lot of different mics out there. So you play around with it and get it fixed out. It doesn't take very long to kind of just listen and let it get in going, but you will notice a huge difference with the noise suppression. There are other ones there. Play around with them at your wish, but I can go over that later. I already rambled on too long. But yeah, so point is you can actually add the. Now, see, it works here for this. Like, I mean, they're both on and they're both working, right? But you will also have an issue with your camera, because some cameras don't like to work twice in the same thing, you know? So, when you get to your settings, how did I open up two of them? That was kind of weird. Okay, I only wanted one open, not two. And so, down here, so did they just automatically turn it on? Yeah, see, if you actually have your other camera, I'm going to go here, it's probably not going to turn on. But yeah, so... okay, yeah, check this box right here. That's where it went. It seemed like it was down there. Alright, so you see this deactivate when not showing. If you're not using like a virtual camera like I'm using, if you're using this, because it doesn't look like it has it. Oh, it does have it there. How did I miss that? Alright, so you want to deactivate when it's not showing. And that'll make it so when you're not showing it, when it's not, yeah, but I mean, like right here. So when you're switching between, let's say you have your, so you got to make sure you got audio and video filters, and you got effect filters. So there's a difference between effect filters and audio video filters. So you can have, this is your noise suppression, which I don't know if it's going to apply to this one, which I think, let me see. Let me say that's what you gotta do. You gotta. Anyways, have fun with it. That's my point. Have fun. I don't think it's making a. See, 0 dBs. I'm looking at the meter down here to see if it's making a difference. Because I'm not sure if it really affects the mic, because the mic is part of my video capturing device. And if it's there, it's probably just a convenient place to have it. So, and it doesn't seem to affect it because it's actually the virtual camera's camera, but it's yeah. For instance, it's probably trying to affect my Elgato since that's what it's set here. Yeah. So, and it makes you choose something. Anyways, I used to have some serious audio bugs, so you might want to check that out if you have any audio issues. Sorry if I bugged you there. Oh my god. On to the next something. I think I've covered that well good enough. Scenes, filters, right? Is that where I was at? I was partially recapping. Oh, that's what happens. Okay, that makes sense. Okay. So, I mean, I didn't understand it at first, but what I'm doing here when I go, you see this? You see, look at both of these. Well, I set in the hotkey, and this is probably, you can overlook it. I just did. I mess around with these a lot. It's been a while since I visited the hotkey section, since I'm not even on the, supposed to be on the cams, right? The cams for the hotkeys, and that's under the settings. Now, look what I did. This is just an example of troubleshooting. You see what's happening here on these two? Like, I basically got it set to the same key. So if I hit Control-Shift-1 once and Control-Shift-2 too, I shut off both cameras. So they're both off. And you might have to actually make sure that you do, or you can actually, yeah, so it should automatically turn it off and on if it's off if it's on. But I think the better way to set that up, if you thought about it logically, would be hide camera. I mean, because I just turned off and off both of them and everything. So what I would want to do is Control-Shift-2 Because Control-Shift-2 will hide number 1, and Control-Shift-1 will hide number, so basically I want Control-Shift-2, and want this completely opposite. So you just hold down the keys to set them, and that's what you'll have to do to turn them on. Oh my gosh, I can't hold down the keys. So you see, hiding it, this is going to hide that one and turn that one on. And that's what you're going to have to do with most cameras, because you really want to make sure it's not visible so that it can reinitiate the camera. It might slow it down a little bit, but having 2 cameras and 2 video sources on at the same time might cause you some camera issues. But it can also work with multiple cameras, so you can, on the fly, be on your main scene and go, now if I go to 1, it isn't going to toggle off. I actually have to hit number 2, or 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, and I broke something, didn't I? Alright, now, the keys, I mean, there's a lot I can go over in this video, so I hope you just do play with stuff. But for the keys, for the hotkeys, can be a pain in the butt to set up. Even if you're going to make sure you got these things set up correctly. I mean, this is just an example I've been working on, but I even looked at it wrong, So make sure you got the show and the hide and the show correctly, otherwise you're going to, it's not going to work right, So let's see if this works. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, because you're basically turning on video capture one. Sometimes you gotta think through this logically, but I'm telling you, once you set it up, and it's golden, and that's why I like to set this up on one scene. And you find this in your hotkeys. You don't have to have anything selected. They're all listed in order. So make sure you're on what you called your, if you see that there, what I'm pointing at, make sure you're on this one right here. Make sure you're on cams, because that's where your scenes are gonna be listed, and that's what you're gonna do. You don't want to use this one, but you can. That's another thing. When you got multiple scenes, you can have control, just make sure you don't have one of the default, like, don't use Control, Alt, Delete, that's gonna really interrupt you, don't use system defaults, like, try the key, and make sure it doesn't have a default Windows effect, because you don't want to fight Windows for something that's already being used, but you have thousands of combinations that you can use, and you can always, like, set a different, put it on a different scene collection, because this only saves on per scene collection. So, let's see if this one works. Hopefully, cross my fingers. Okay, so I'm on my main. Control 1. So if I hit Control 1 again, nothing happens. Alright, so good. That means if I hit Control 2, it shuts off Control 1 and turns on 1. Now, what am I doing? Why isn't it? It should be working. In theory, I'm looking at it wrong still. Okay, so it's not supposed to be that way. Oh, yeah. See? I got it backwards, dyslexically. So it's 1. It's 2, 1. 2, 1. You remember, you gotta hold down Control, Shift, and 1 to make it pop up there. And if you want to completely remove them all, hit the trash can over here, because, yeah, it's just sitting over there saying, and you can hover over a lot of these things. Revert, like, change it to the back one.
Alright, if your audio's not working, just throw your computer away. Lay down and get the hell up. But if you're determined, don't do that. Just go find your control panel. You can get to it on Windows from multiple places. You can get to it anywhere, and it's usually just search through it through the menu here. You can type it in. Like, type here to search. Just type in control panel. Here, control panel, or sound control panel. Be more specific. Sound control panel. See it in the list right here? See that? Sound control panel. Boom. Get to there. I didn't want to search the web. Okay, I'm getting really irritated. Because it would have worked in Linux that way. I hope everybody's doing okay. I'm a little nuts. My kids are driving me insane. Anyways, you can't fix certain sounds, but if you're having a problem with your audio, sound control panel. This has been the most hard video to make in my life. I hope you're enjoying the misery. And you're learning something at the same time. Take deep breaths. Because you're going to need it with this. I mean, either to learn this with your kids around, or just to make a video with your kids around. Deep breaths. Breathe. Especially if you're having frustrations. Any frustrations. Especially, I mean, I know how to fix the sound. I just don't know how to fix the sound problem with sounds you can't control in life. Like trains driving by, or when you're making a video, or maybe, I don't know, I can go on and on. But damn, it's super simple, though. Really, you don't need to hear. You don't need to hear all that. Don't get sweat. Just find your control panel. Find your control panel, and you got it. You know, it's right. Just if you right click down here, you know, just I mean, this is just the quickest way for Windows. And Linux and Mac, you should just be able to search it. It's like they do make that part a little easier. And you can set your audio devices to default. Normally, the one that's plugged in, the one that you can hear, is the default. Especially that's what OBS considers default. So you shouldn't even have to go here, anyways. Because if those meters are moving, like I already mentioned, you're good to go. You should be fine. Now the echo, if you have an echo, I'll get to that. Yeah. But anyways, right here, if you just don't get no sound from your desktop or from anything, you can always test it here, recording playback. Sometimes it doesn't like to pick up. I mean, I've had issues with it, but hopefully you don't have any issues. Hopefully you're not even watching this part of the video. But well, maybe you're happy you did because you're laughing your ass off. How frustrating it can be to make a video if I didn't edit that part out. But anyway, make sure you can test it. You know it's working, and you know it says default device because it's gonna set as default community. It's not gonna say. It's gonna say like it's gonna say enable, and then you gotta set as default device if it's not set as default device. But normally it sets the one that you're using automatically even down here. You do the same thing for the other one. Like, why did I close that out? Damn it, man. So, like I showed you down here, go to the speaker. Oh, go to the top one on the list, which is the open sound settings. Go to the control sounds panel, and then the recording's right next to it. So your sound recording's right here. It's pretty simple. You should be able to see the meter pop up right there, or even right there. And this should be it should work here for your default too. This does set the default, but to force the default and to turn off other ones from interfering, that's where you would go. You would need to go there. But backing up, you really don't. You can go there. I like that because you got the test button, but you can also troubleshoot, and it might even automatically find your problems for the troubleshoot because it'll walk you through and find out if your drivers are just corrupted or something like that. That might actually do it. And if that doesn't work, it could just be a hardware failure, which is pretty rare. I mean, for audio, normally it does happen, but it's just rare. I mean, it's not very often. Most likely, it's just something wrong with your drivers or something got corrupted. You know, usually Windows troubleshoot will fix that for you. It's gotten a lot better over the years. So there's the troubleshooting for your audio. If that doesn't work, it better freaking work. Oh, well. I mean, there has been issues in the past, though. It was literally, your HDMI audio wasn't working. And there was an audio issue with that because, and I thought it was a sound driver, but it was actually the HDMI driver, which actually is related to your sound. So just heads up on that, HDMI. If that is, and you always for Windows, that's the device manager.
Well, I plan on making a video based on the comments. If there's a lot of questions down there and just a lot of other cool stuff like I've been going through here, maybe I'll base it off of other cool things I discovered and just maybe come up with a better video of things I might have missed, especially recap things in the comment section so I can better explain them. Hopefully this has been an okay tutorial. I mean, I will revisit other things that I've went over here and just make them a little bit, especially if I come up with a better way of explaining it. So I hope you learned something. But I've been working on this with my kids in the background all day, and they're so greatly distracting. I just ate tacos. I'm feeling good. Okay, so the next video I create will probably be floating by my head or something similar. I don't know. If it's not there, it's not there. Hopefully it's there. Yeah, you can subscribe if I helped you out. Hopefully I did. And maybe you laughed a little bit. Maybe not. Maybe kind of irritated. But have a good day. Wash your hands. If you have hands. Wash your paws if you have paws. I'm jealous if you got paws.